Hello, CD bestie, aku Nina Nesbitt. Check out my interview with CreativeDisc.com, the #1 music website in Indonesia.
Hello, City Bestie. Welcome back to another Creative Disc exclusive interview with me, Lutfi. And my guest today is a female singer-songwriter coming from Scotland. Back in 2014, when she was young, in Creative Disc, we talked so much about her past single called Selfies. And now she grew up becoming a woman and talk about hardship, honesty, and also love right now. A very, very love, a very, very deep love, not just love. It's interesting. It's very interesting because the guests that we talked today have a two phase in her life. First is her major label phase, and now she's an independent artist right now. So we talk so much with the selfish girl in the past, but right now she's Alscar girl in the past. Hope I said it right. Please welcome. This is my guest today, Nina Nesbitt.
Hello, you said it great.
Oh, thank you very much. Is it called Alscar, your newest album?
Elscar, yeah.
Alscar?
Elscar.
Yeah. Elska.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you. We're gonna talk about your newest album later, but first thing first, how are you?
I am good, yeah. I'm good. It's morning-ish. Chilling out near London in the United Kingdom. How are you?
I'm very fine in Jakarta. It's like 6:20 p.m. right now. It's like the half of the day.
Nice.
Yeah. So maybe like what kind of activity that you're doing recently?
I have put out an album about a month ago, so I've been really busy with that. I was doing festivals over the summer, supported Coldplay, which was really fun. And yeah, it's just been the kind of crazy album promo rush.
Oh, how does it feel to becoming opener for Coldplay?
It was so cool, yeah. Totally unexpected.
Huh?
And it was back home in Scotland, which is where I'm from. And it was in the big stadium, which was so cool because I'd never played a stadium before. And yeah, so cool. Loved it. Big
feel
fan.
Nervous?
Do you know, I was nervous. I don't normally get nervous because I've been playing gigs for so long. But yeah, I didn't really know during sound check in an arena, it's kind of like, oh, it's not that big, it's fine. And then when you see all the people in it, you're like, oh my God, it's not fine. It's huge. So yeah, it was, I had 2 nights. So the second night I enjoyed a lot more because I kind of knew what to expect.
Okay, so first thing first, I want to introduce you to our viewer with question. Not who is Nina Nesbitt, but what is Nina Nesbitt?
Nina Nesbitt is a musician from Scotland, half Swedish, and I am also a songwriter and producer for other people. Just an all-round musician, I guess.
Okay, so let's talk more about your new album called Alskar. Tell me more about it.
So Elskar means to love in Swedish. And I was inspired by that title because I was visiting my gran in Sweden, and while I was there I did some writing sessions with producers in Stockholm, and I absolutely loved working with them and just thought it was like the place to make an album, really. So the album is about love in all its different forms, whether it's romantic, family, friendship, self-love. And I think like being in my 20s, love is a very topical thing among me and my friends and whoever else. So yeah, just wrote an album about it, and it's quite deep.
Yeah. Because you know, when I heard Alskar, I think it's interesting because you tackle so many deep themes, I guess, not just about love, but you know, it's not about love anymore. I think it's about your self healing, I guess, your reflection, I guess. This is like a deeper album rather than your previous album, I think.
Yeah, I think so. it's interesting because the album before, The Sun Will Come Up, I wrote that when I wasn't an artist. I was just songwriting for other people. So a lot of the songs, like the pop songs, I hadn't intended to be for me. So they weren't really like, some of them, of course, were very deep, but others were just like, I just want to write a fun pop song. So with this album, it was like I wrote it as, I guess, the artist in a way, and just had the chance to kind of explore deeper, which was quite fun. But yeah, it's kind of different to other albums. I think just growing up and becoming older as well, you see things a bit deeper maybe.
It's very, very interesting, because talking about getting older, I feel like when I heard this album as a whole, I think there's so many themes about maturity. I think, like, I guess in my mind, I guess, like, this is not love. I think, like, this is your self-reflection. This is not to love anymore. I think it's more of your self-reflection. I think, is it like you maybe more self-reflect during the process making this album?
Yeah, I think so. And I think our country in the UK went into lockdown. So I actually couldn't go to Sweden and write it. So a lot of it was written in my bedroom again. And I guess it kind of took me back to when I started, when, I was at school and stuff, just writing my thoughts and feelings, almost like a diary. And I think because everything stopped in the world, well, in our part of the world anyway, everything came to a halt, kind of made me think back and think forward and think about now. Like it made me reflect, like you say. I think because I actually had the chance to reflect instead of just being so busy that I'm just living for the next day. So yeah, I think it's definitely like, I guess the world made it a different kind of album.
So what's the thing that you really, really learned a lot during pandemic time?
Um, I don't know if like I learned that much. I think I just maybe like, I don't know. I don't really know. I think I just looked back, like reflected a lot. And then I think because I've been doing this career since I left school basically, I've never really had time to reflect and take in the experiences I've had or how much I have grown, but maybe just not realized because I've just been so busy. So I think, I don't know, maybe just learn a few things from that. I don't know.
Maybe learn to love yourself.
Yeah, I think you give less of a fuck as you get older, which is good.
Indeed. So I found an interesting track in this album called Pressure Makes Diamond. You were talk about being a woman in entertainment industry and tackle so many things like nepotism. I really, really shocked about the lyrics on Pressure Makes Diamond, because you tackle to on the point. I think so many things, like I think, like packed into one song. So tell me more about that track.
Yeah. Um well, I was in Sweden when I wrote that, and I think it was one of the producers came up with a piano part, and then I had a mic and I was just singing over it, and all the lyrics just came pouring out, and I was like, wow, I really needed to get that off my chest. And I just think, yeah, like I don't want it to come across bitter or anything. It's kind of like tongue in cheek, kind of, a bit sarcastic and fun, really. It's like taking a quite a serious subject and trying to turn it into, like, I think that's the Scottish way. You kind of laugh at things that annoy you and just kind of make them funny.
But in Indonesia, it's the same. We talk so much about the sarcastic way, I guess, in our lyrics. But the independent artist one can do that, but the major artist one can't do that.
Right. Yeah, I feel quite lucky to be on an independent label where I can just sort of do whatever I want. Musically, it's quite a freeing process.
So on your previous album, you speak so unapologetically about real issue with yourself and someone around you. But right now I think like you are maturing more about talking about so many things about yourself, more reflective. Like, what's the transition? What's the, I think like how I can put it, like you speak more like a grown-up woman. How come to be?
I think I've just grown up. I think like a lot of people on a lot of reviews and said reviews had said, you know, it's more mature, like the most mature album I've made, but like I made it at 25, 26 and 27. And I think there's a huge difference being that age to being 21, 22 when I wrote the last album, especially as a woman. Like I just think so much changes at that age, and I feel like a completely different person. So I guess that's probably, yeah, it's just like a natural growth. I think as well, like in the back of my head, it's always been like, oh, don't grow up too fast, you know, in pop music. I think sometimes people say you have like a sell by date and stuff back in the day. And I think now, like, I'm just so inspired by all the females that I look up to, you know, that are older and are singing about things that are relevant to them. And I didn't want to shy away from subjects that I felt were too mature. Like, I think my fan base has sort of grown up with me. So yeah, just tried to write about relevant things really.
So what's the difference between the young Nina Nesbitt when released Selfies and right now the All-Star phase? What's the biggest difference besides growing up?
Yeah, I mean, I think just growing up, to be honest. I think I've always done what I want to do, what I want to put out, but I think I was so young when I first started. I didn't really know who I was or what I was doing. I was just trying to like wing it really. And not to take away from anything I put out, I just think, yeah, like I was less confident in who I was. Whereas I feel like now I feel much more confident in what I put out and who I am. And I think I care like a little bit less about what people think. And I think in this industry as well, like no one knows what's going to be big or what's going to do well. And I think that's kind of reassuring to know, because it kind of makes you think, oh, well, I'll just do whatever I want to do. And if it connects, it connects. So yeah, it's been quite reassuring of having that experience.
So you starting career at young age and now you're still here despite all the things that you go through. You know, you change into the major label to independent label one, and you are still here despite all the things that you go through. And I think you speak louder and honest rather than before. So what's the thing that you want to, what's the thing that motivated you to stay in this music industry?
Well, I was just going to be a songwriter. Before The Sun Will Come Up, The Seasons Will Change album, when I was dropped from a major label, I was very happy to be a songwriter for other people because I love doing that. And then through that, I started getting cuts with other artists, and people were like, oh, maybe you should put this out and stuff. So that's kind of how I got back into it. But I knew I wanted to make at least one album that was what I dreamed of making, and The Sun Will Come Up was that album for me. So I think I just felt like I had unfinished business with that, and then it kind of exceeded any expectations. So I was like, I should probably make another one then.
Like when you release your comeback album, do you expect it's gonna be a big, or it's gonna be like near the same of your major album phase?
Yeah, I honestly didn't expect anything. Like I just wanted to put it out because I was really proud of it. And then yeah, and it's been like the most successful album that I've had to date. So yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you say that you writing with so many artists, with many singer-songwriter. Like, what's the difference between when you making song for other people and you making song for yourself?
I'm a lot harder on myself when it's for myself, which is, yeah, it's harder to write a song that I love for myself, I think. Whereas I love getting in a room with other writers or other artists and like hearing their story and like working with them to kind of make that come to life. That's a lot easier. It comes very naturally, I think, because I love just having a chat with people as well. I think, yeah, so that's definitely easier. And like writing for pitch, like writing for DJs, that's kind of just, you can just be whoever you want for the day and write whatever. But I think there's something very satisfying about writing for yourself when you get a song that you love, because you've put a lot of time and effort into it.
But I think like it's hard for you to convey yourself, right, to making your own song rather than making other people's song. Is it very, very interesting?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's easier to see other people, isn't it, objectively, than to see yourself. I think it's hard to do that sometimes.
Okay, so what's the Alskar mean for you? The Alskar, like not the album, but the word Alskar to you.
Well, the word. So I've always grown up hearing the word, because my mum would phone my gran, and I would hear her talking Swedish, but I wouldn't understand it. And I would always hear the word Elskar at the end, like Jag älskar dig, which means I love you. So I've always had that word in my head. And it was always like, she'd be on the phone for so long and it would cut off the internet. And I was always like waiting to hear that word. So I knew I could get back on the internet. So, and then like growing up and hearing my friends say it and stuff in Sweden. And it's just been a word that's always been in the family. And I thought it was kind of cool to bring it to life.
So speaking about your favorite album, what's your favorite album of all time, if you can pick one?
Oh my God. I really would struggle to pick one, but I'll say this one because I think this one was like very important to me in becoming a musician. And it was Fearless by Taylor Swift. And that's the album that made me want to be a musician and pick up a guitar. So I would have to pick that one.
Why Fearless?
Because at the time when I was younger, I didn't grow up in a musical family. So it was kind of just chart music and the pop divas and stuff like that, And I absolutely loved writing songs. But I couldn't dance, or like, I'm not a Britney, I'm not a Christina, I'm not a Whitney. Respectfully, love them. It's not in me. And I always just felt like something was missing from being, like the pop star for me. And then I heard Taylor Swift Fearless album, and I thought, this is me. This is what I want to do. Like, it just spoke to me, and like the way that she was the writer. She was writing her own songs, telling her own stories, like describing things. It's like the storytelling, like old Scottish folk almost. It's very similar to country music. So I think just hearing that made me think, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life.
What's your favorite track in Fearless Taylor Swift?
Well, it was the track 15 that really hooked me in, because I was 15 at the time. And I was like, oh my God, this is about me. I relate to this so much. I was like, I feel like she's written it for me. But I think that's what she does so well. You feel like the song is written about your life. It just connects. So yeah, probably 15, but they're all exquisite.
So, okay, this is like the hardest question on this interview. Many artists didn't catch the quick answer on it. So the question is, mention 5 things we didn't know about Nina Nesbitt.
Okay. Number 1, I used to be a rhythmic gymnast with like the ribbon and the ball and all that.
Wow.
I know. I look back now and I'm like, how did I do any of that?
But you can still do the gymnast things.
Absolutely not. No. No. Number 2, my first kind of trained instrument as such was the flute at school. And every time I see Lizzo get her flute out,
Yes.
I'm like, I want to get my flute out. Number 3. My logo for upside down heart, and it is inspired by a beauty mark on my ear, which is an upside down heart, which is so random. Yeah, I'd never found it before, and then someone said, you have a heart shape on your ear, and I was like, oh, that's cool. So that's what the logo is.
Oh wow,
that's quite a random fact.
Whoa, it's okay. The more random the better.
Okay, well, that's very random. Number 4, I have an obsession with scented candles. Not very interesting, but I just love them. I think I have about 20 in the house at the moment. Yeah. Big fan.
Wow. And the last one is
number 5. Okay, so this is quite a good one. I didn't used to eat Asian food at all, right? It's really bad. And then I went to Singapore and they had Indonesian food. And I tried it because I was like, I'm in Singapore, I'm going to try Indonesian food. And it changed me for life, genuinely. I had an Indonesian curry and it was the most insane thing I've ever eaten in my life. It was so good. And now I want to come to Indonesia and actually want to come to like the whole of Asia and just eat loads of food.
You should come to Indonesia, and you must try Padangese restaurant. We've got called nasi Padang. It's like so many curry taste, beef rendang in there, and so many that maybe like your taste bud maybe didn't same anymore, I think, after eating that.
I need that in my life. When I come to Indonesia, I'm hitting you up.
Yes. We should eat nasi Padang together.
So keen.
Yes.
For it.
Okay, the very, very last question for Nina Nesbitt. If you could say something when you start making music, what would you say to your past self?
Oh, I would say kind of what I was saying earlier, like nobody knows what's going to be big or, or successful. So just believe in what you do, and like nobody really knows what they're doing. So just do what you want to do, write from an honest place and just go for it. Like stop waiting, just go for it. Stop caring what other people think and just do it. That's what I'd say.
Okay, so this wrap up this interview. Thank you so much, Nina Nesbitt, for this interview. It's very, very wow. The CreativeDisc people very, very love about you. They talk about Selfies back in 2014, and here we are.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
So please welcome once again. I'm Lutfi from CreativeDisc, and this is once again. This is Nina Nesbitt. Thank you.
Thank you.